Hey guys, it's Maymay, and today we're making this big old paper purse because, as promised, I told you I thought this would make a really cool handle. These are the chipboard circles we carry in the store. We are probably out of them right now. You guys bought them up on Black Friday, but we'll have more coming. But I'm going to show you an alternate handle, so if you don't have the circles. But I love how this turned out, so let's get started. So the first thing you're going to need is a piece of cardstock for the base. This is a coordinating color. It doesn't have to be the exact same color as your purse or the same pattern. It can be. Mine is not. So this one is 9.5 by 5.5. And what we want to do is we want to score it an inch in all the way around. So I'm going to score it at 8.5. And then I'm going to turn it and score it at 4.5. And then I will turn it and score it again at 8.5. And then I'll do the same thing. Turn it and score it at 4.5. Now here's why I do this. I struggle scoring over on this side of the page. Like, I struggle getting a good straight score when I'm pretty close to the edge. So I prefer just to score an inch in on the sides. But if you'd rather, you can score at 1 inch, 4.5, and then turn it and score at 1 inch and 8.5 and get the same thing. But I just struggle on that side. So that's how I get around it. Now what we're going to do, well, I got my scissors, but let's do this first. Let's crease this guy. So I'm going to try to fold my score mark all the way up. You know, we talked about that our score mark is kind of chubby, especially when we use our Teflon bone folder. I want to fold that score mark all the way up. You'll know what I mean. If you're not careful, that score mark will kind of score kind of in a funny place on that thick line. But I'm pulling it so that it's all the way into the project. Just like that. And then you can use your foam folder to help to even coerce it even a little bit more. So go ahead and get these creased. I'm using a very thick cardstock too, by the way. Okay, so now what I want to do is on that fold line, that little small fold line at the end, I want to snip up on that. Okay, so cutting on the score line closest to my long flap, not this guy, but cutting that score line away. And then you can see how the score line is left on the flap. Now I'm going to angle cut and get rid of that score line altogether. So I've just made a little angle cut like that. Let me do it here again. So I'm going to cut the score mark away from the long flap and then angle cut it on my side flaps. Doesn't really matter how big that angle is. I just do that to get some of the bulk out when I'm folding. Here, and then cut a little angle like so, and then here and an angle. So this is the base. To me, this is the easiest way to assemble this type of purse. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to build this base by gluing these flaps inside of the long side panel flap. You can use sticky tape, you can use whatever you want here. I'm going to use a mixture today. You'll see me use my glue, my wet glue, and some sticky tape today on this project. So I got one side glued up. Now I'm going to glue up the other side. Just making a little rectangle box. Now you probably already guessed, this is going to be the size of the base of your purse. This is a pretty good size purse because I wanted to give you something big enough to put like some really cool like lotions or bottles of hand sanitizer or some actual product in this purse for you to give away as a gift or something. I thought that'd be kind of neat. Okay, so now we can put this aside. We won't need it for a little while. Now we're going to go to our purse itself. This is what I decided to do my purse in. This is from Mente. This is from the Merry and Bright collection. I just think this paper is gorgeous. So this is 2 pieces that are 12 by 8. So they're 12 inches long by 8 inches tall. We don't have to do any scoring or anything to these pieces. What we do want to do is find the center. So I'm going to put mine on my cutting mat. I'm just going to use it to my advantage here. And I want to find the 6-inch mark. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm going to make myself a pencil mark right there. Now what I want to do, I'm going to take a ruler and I want to measure up 1 inch from that spot. Just 1 inch in. And you can just draw a straight line. And you'll know that is your 6-inch mark and 1 inch up. That's what I'm looking for. I'm going to bring this up for you to see it because I see that it went away. But you see, I just made for myself a 1-inch line halfway in the middle of this page. Why did I do that? I will show you. So putting this guy back like so, and what I mean is putting him in some of the squares, so I've got him lined up. I'm going to take this handle and I'm going to touch that inch to the middle down there, and then I'm going to eyeball the side to make sure this is pretty centered, and that's about right, okay? And then all I'm going to do is trace this half circle. That's how I'm going to get rid of that to make it look seamless in the purse. So I'm going to pick this guy up, grab some scissors, and then I'm just going to cut that little section out. And I cut right inside the pencil mark because I don't need the pencil mark, and actually the inside is the mark of my little handle. So I'm going to cut this one away like so. And then this is going to be my template for my next page. So I don't even have to do all that measuring again. Just have to do it one time. So there's that. And then I get my next page. And you might want to pay attention to pattern. I don't know if that's important to you. I'll do them the same, but that just means my Santa's going to be upside down in my purse, but that's fine. I'm not going to stress over that. I'm the worst about orientation, so if anybody were to get a gift from me and it be right, they'd be worried about me anyway, so we're good. All right, so now I'm going to trace this little guy out, or cut this little guy out, and we'll be ready to move on to the next assembly. By the way, this is a super easy purse to assemble. Now, let me tell you, I assemble mine a little different than you might have seen in other videos, and the reason is it's easier for me to assemble this one this way. Sometimes you might see people take these strips and glue them together and then put them on that base we made. I can't do that. It doesn't land well for me like that. So let me show you how I'm going to do it. So I'm going to take my piece, and at the bottom, I really should have paid attention to orientation, but y'all know me. I'm the worst. At the bottom, I'm going to take some of my tape. Now, the side of my box is 1 inch. So that means I have 1 inch to play with on my adhesive. And what I'm going to do is take my tape, and I'm going to lay it down at the bottom here, running all the way across, like so. And then I'm going to lay one more piece above it because I've got a full inch that I can adhere, and I want to take advantage of all of it. Any little bit that I can. I should have used my little acrylic block there, but I didn't. So on one of them, I'm going to tape like this. Now let's get the other one. On this one, I'm going to tape the bottom the same way. I got my little block. It makes this so much neater. So do the bottom the same way. But then I want to do both sides the same way as well. So you guessed it, one of these is going to be the front panel of our purse section, and one will be the back. But this is going to be where I attach them together, and that way I don't have to glue one big long piece onto the project. That just didn't work for me. I tried it that way, and I couldn't quite get everything centered. I couldn't quite get my handle centered doing it that way. Because whenever you make one big long piece, where you glue it together, you kind of lose some of the length. It just wasn't working for me, but this way was. All right, so now what I'm going to do is put this one aside. You don't want to use this one first. You want to use your single, the single-sided first, the single strip, I should say, first. And what we're going to do is release this backer. So I'm going to use my scissors. Do you know why? Because my pokey tool is in the other room. I keep saying that, but I keep forgetting to bring it in here. All right, so release the adhesive. And now what I'm going to do, pull that adhesive over. I'm going to lay this on my work surface, again, using my little grid marks here to help me. If you don't have this grid situation, I'll show you what you do. Then I'm going to sit this guy down. And what I want to do is I want to make sure that I'm leaving the same amount on either side before I glue this in. So I've got 2 1/4, 2 1/4, about 2 1/4 inches in on both sides. I moved it. All right, so 2 1/4 in on both sides. And then just kind of kissing that up to the edge of my purse, I'm going to roll it into place and then seal that down. That just worked really easy for me. And then I'm going to take the sides. Now, here's the thing. You don't want score marks because you want that rounded edge of a purse. So what you'll do here, I want to try to get this where you can, there we go, where you can see what I'm doing. What you'll do here is you're just going to roll this over. You can crease this very bottom part, but we don't want to crease the side of the purse itself. I'm just going to roll that over and adhere that down like so. And the same thing on this side. I'm going to roll this over. And the big thing is I want to make sure I'm lining it up to the edge. Okay? So just like that. So that is side 1. That's how we do it. Now we're going to do this side. And you guessed it, we're going to use that other piece. It's an easy assembly, you know. It's not hard at all. We're going to go ahead and reveal all the backers, or reveal all the adhesive on all of our pieces. So all the way around. This makes it very easy, kind of makes it like one step. The reason I'm using tape versus wet glue on this project is I want it to seal instantly. Even though my glue seals virtually instantly, I don't want to have to fight. I don't want to have to hold it at all, you know? All right, we're gonna do the same thing. And this might be a little hard for you to see, but I'm gonna line this up just like I did. So 2 1/4 and 2 1/4, all right? And then I'm just gonna roll this into the tape, just like so, and then reach in there. You can't see me, but I'm doing exactly what we did on that first side, okay? So here's what I meant by front and back. So this piece becomes our front piece because this piece is going to be underneath. And here's what you're going to do. You're going to roll this in just like you did the first time. So we're going to roll that down and stick it down. And I'm not worried about the side yet. I'm only sticking the bottom. See how the side's still open? Now watch. If you lay this on your work surface and you line, can you see it? You line the edge of the paper up right here, then press that down. It'll be so easy, and you know everything's in the center that way. Let me do it one more time. All right, so I'm going to roll this guy over, matching up the bottom, just like so. I can reach in there and make sure that's nice and sealed. All right, and then what I'm going to do, I'll do it like this, you can see. I will lay it on its side and line up the edge. I don't even have to lay it on its side. You just want to make sure you have a smooth spot there where the paper meets. See that? Then you can lay it down and press it into place. And that becomes our purse. So now this pattern's real cool because you really can't see the seam as much. My first pattern, you could really tell it. So this will be the front of my purse because my pattern wraps further around on this side versus the other. Now, you can fold and bend or do whatever you want here. I just kind of leave it like this for now. And when you put your handle and you put your closure on, it'll kind of bring it together like a purse, okay? So let's work on the handle. Now, I chose this to be my handle pattern for this particular purse, and here's what I'm going to do. If you're using the little chipboard handle like I am here, I'm going to take this and I'm going to run some glue around, just like so. Don't really need sticky tape here. I can do this with the wet glue because this will dry really quick anyway. So I just lay this down onto the paper, and then I'm going to cut this out. So let me let that dry for just a second. Now, I'm loving these guys. I can't believe I waited so long to get these, but I really like this. What this knife does, you see how the knife is on the left-hand side there, and you put your finger in, and it's kind of like holding a pencil. With this chipboard, this works really well. You can get right in here beside the edge of the chipboard and just run around. I just kind of take my time. Now, I will tell you, this blade is so sharp, it will cut into the chipboard if you're not too careful. So I'm going to try not to do it, but I have cut into the chipboard on a couple of them. So there it is, cut out of the middle. If you don't have a blade like this, don't stress. You can totally use your scissors. And that is how I cut the edges out. I took my cutter bees and just went right around the edge and just let the blade go beside the chipboard. You probably could do this with your long Tim Holtz shears too. I didn't even try that. I just grabbed these little guys because I felt like I could get around kind of quick. So I've done that twice. So you see I have the two handles like this. And I also cut out 2 circles the same way. I traced this guy onto paper 2 more times and cut this out because this is going to be what actually hides our handle. Let me show you on my original because I think it's kind of neat how I did this. So you see on the inside, let me open this. It's just Velcro closure. But you see on the inside how the handles close, they're clean on the inside as well. That's what we're going to use those 2 pieces for, is to hide kind of the workings, right? So let me put this back. Now I told you that I'd show you an alternate handle, okay? So for the alternate, what you'll do is you'll take 2 pieces that are 12 by 1 1/4 inches. And what you'll do is you're going to score these in half. So that means for me 5/8, okay? So I'm going to score these in half at 5/8. You could do this with just 1 inch and have the 1/2 inch handle, but I like a little meatier handle than that. So put this in, score it at 5/8. So I've laid this on my work surface, okay, and I'm using my little cutting mat as a help there for me. I want to come in 1 inch or even 1.5 inches. I think I'll come in 1.5 inches from the edge. And I'm going to place some adhesive here, and I'm going to go down till I'm 1.5 inches away from the bottom of my strip. So that'll be right here. So you see, I don't take my adhesive all the way to the edge. I'm 1.5 inches in. I'm going to go ahead and do that to both of them real quick. It's hard to do this one from this angle. Let's see, 1.5 inches right there. All right. Now, before I stick this down, I'm gonna go ahead and do my fold. So I'm gonna bring the edge to the edge there and fold this guy down. And you're not taking your adhesive all the way to the end because you're gonna open that up and kind of make it an open base of the handle. I've seen this done a lot. I don't think I've ever used this technique. I just wanted to show y'all something a little different with this purse and something I've seen others do with it. I normally just make a strip and just, run it from one side to the other because I like simple and easy like that. But I'll show you how this works. All right, so we've got it folded down. Now I'm going to pick this backer off and I'm going to seal this guy down. And I'm going to go ahead and run my bone folder. I'm going to do the same to the other one. Another alternate for handles. That circle that I'm using is a 6-inch circle with a 3.5-inch hole. You could just cut a 6-inch circle and put a 3.5-inch hole in the middle of it and get kind of the same thing, or get the circle hole, handle. Now I'm going to take my corner rounder punch and I'm going to put this in here and I'm going to round the corner. Now you have to be careful because it's not quite the right size for your corner rounder. So I'm almost floating it in there and just kind of lining it up. So they may not be exactly the same from one side to the other, but they'll be pretty close. So just a little round on the corner here and the other end. And here's where we're going to have to kind of train the paper, okay? We're going to open this up and we're going to kind of train it with our fingers and the heat of our hand to kind of do that. I know it seems a little weird, but that's what we're looking for. Something kind of flat and then also handle-like. Now again, I won't be applying this to my purse. I'm just showing you how to make this little handle. All you need is that flat piece to glue it down. If you were to apply this to the purse, here's how you do it. You would bend this forward like so, and then you would glue that flat piece down. And see how it looks like an actual purse handle? Pretty cool, right? So that's a small one because that's a 12-inch strip, and this is a tall purse. So you might want to make a longer strip if you wanted a different handle, but I kind of like that little short handle, and having that little cutout in the middle gives a little more hand space, if that makes sense. So that's how you would do the alternate handle. But we're going to finish out our circular handle. And here's how I did it. So I'm going to take this little guy and using some wet glue this time, I'm going to put some wet glue on the bottom, not quite half, just enough for me to get it glued to the purse. Okay. And then what I'm going to do with this laying on my work surface, I'm going to bring the purse to it and I'm going to line up the curve with the curve of the circle. It may be hard for you to see. I'm not sure. Let's go this way so I can use a little more of that glue. Now, because my handle doesn't have a pattern either direction, which is good, I didn't want to have to find another pattern. I'm just laying this down and pressing this into place. The most important thing is that this handle sticks right, let me see if I can show you, right here, okay? So I'm taking my time here. I'm even taking that extra glue that I put down there and rubbing it on to kind of help that adhere that down. You could put a little piece of sticky tape there if you wanted to. I just use my extra glue and then hold it for an extended period of time. Let that dry. Now, while I've got it there, I'm going to go on and apply glue to the top of it all the way around, inside and out of it. You want to get the middle of the circle and the outside. Then the piece that I cut, the little circle that I cut, this is going to mat on the back and make our handle look like one continuous handle. And let me show you a trick, okay? So you get that lined up and then take a 6x6 pad. They work great. Doesn't matter which one it is. Just grab a 6x6 pad, lay it on top and press and hold that in. And that will press all your glue out where it needs to go. And just let it sit there and dry. Don't rush this. You want this handle to be nice and secure. So you see my handle's on really snug on the inside and on the front. Okay, now notice that my circle wasn't perfect. Don't worry, I can come back with my knife and fix that. But now I'm going to repeat the process on the other side and get my other handle on. Now you remember how I told you I could get rid of that piece that was showing? I'm taking my craft knife and not cutting it toward me, okay? But I'm just laying it inside there and running it around and letting it slice that away for me. But you don't want that blade to come towards you, and you don't want to put too much pressure. Just kind of go slow. And if your craft knife won't do this, you can do this with your fingernail file. Remember how I've showed y'all before that you can take a fingernail file and run around the edge of it? You can totally do that here. All right, so that cleaned that right up. Now the closure, and listen, don't blink. This is the easiest closure you've ever done, I promise. you're going to need a piece that is 2 inches by 6 inches. Now, I took my scallop punch, you know, the one that is the scallop and the stub, and I'm using the scallop edge. And what I'm going to do is punch the corners. Now, you could do this with anything you have in your stash. If you have a tag punch, a corner rounder, it doesn't matter. I just thought this looked kind of cool, the way it gave it kind of a different edge. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to dig into the Velcro dots we started carrying in the store. These are the ones we just got, and I'm going to use a row of 3 of them. So I'm going to cut across. I really like that I can do this with these kind of mini dots, or the mini Velcro dots. I can give myself 3 so I can get a little stronger without having to have that single one. So now I'm just peeling the plastic backer off like so to expose the adhesive. And now I'm going to come down here to this end, and right before that little scallop starts, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Right behind that little scallop, I'm just going to rub those on. Okay, now down here, I want to show you this. If you're using this handle that I'm using, you have a little space here, so you won't be able to glue directly down. So let me show you what I'm going to do on the other end. Your handle will get more use than anything else, okay, because you're just going to be open and closed, open and closed. So don't be afraid to use too much adhesive on your handle. So I'm going to add a little bit of tape to this end, as well as some foam squares. The reason for that is these little foam squares on this little flap will take up the gap of the handle. You'll see this when you're making it at home. So I'm going to peel the little backers off of my foam squares. I'm going to put a little dot of glue on them as an extra precaution, just a dot. Then I'm going to reveal the other adhesive I have right here. Okay, so let's take this to our bag. So on the back of the bag, I'm going to take this and run it through the handle, okay? So my foam squares are going to land right underneath that little handle, and my sticky tape will stick to the handle. So kind of pay attention before you put it into place and make sure you got it straight. Mine wasn't quite straight. Now I can press this down, and you'll see there that those little foam squares just help to take up that gap, and that sticky tape really helps there too. So now what you're going to do is take your flap and bring it through the handle. Now you want to peel the backer off of these guys, and it's really easy once that's stuck down. Okay, so now we've exposed their adhesive, and you want to run those right past your handle and try to get that pretty straight. I'm probably not extremely straight because I'm not real good at that stuff. And then I'm just going to press it, and that will hold that in place. Look how cute that is, and it really gives it some shape. Now I want to decorate this little area here. So we just started carrying these black and white buttons, and I think they're gorgeous. I used one of the black ones on my first purse. On this one, I'm going to use one of the white ones. I love this. They're all assorted, so you don't know what you're going to get, which I think is kind of cool. But I think this is really pretty here. So let me find some twine for this. So I got some twine. I'm just going to feed it through 2 of the holes. So I'm going to come up from one side and then up from the other. I'm just going to tie a bow on it. I just think that'll be cute to have a little bow. I'm not going to worry about stitching the whole thing because I don't think you'll really see that when I'm done with the bow. So just tie this on like so, and then make a bow in the middle. That's about where I want it. Pretty good, pretty good. Oh, and then I pulled it too far, always. All right, so there's my bow, and I'm going to trim off my tails here. Something like that. And then I'm going to put this on with a little bit of foam. I find that these foam squares do a really good job with this sort of application. I'm going to come right back here to the back and press that foam square on. And then that guy is going to go right here onto my handle. And it just finishes it off. That button, I don't know, it's something about bringing something that might actually be there to the purse that really finishes it off. So there's the 2 purses. Notice I used a black button on this one. These guys are big, y'all. You're going to have a lot of space to put stuff in, and it uses very little paper. This is about 3.5 pieces of cardstock, if that. So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed that one. Now, you know the deal. If you make it, we want to see it. So head to our customer gallery at maymaymadeit.com or to our Discord, which is linked in the description below, and share with us your purses. We love to see them, and we love to be inspired. And don't forget to subscribe, guys, and also give this video a thumbs up if you loved this purse. Thanks so much for watching today. Until next time, bye-bye now.